Hi everyone, welcome to Analysis Compilation 15. We're going to be doing our normal things. We're going to be taking a look at some clips sent in by my viewers and trying to work out what each party could have done differently to make things better. Did you see that happening? So were there any clues on this first clip? Well, let's have a look. As my viewer approaches the junction, we can obviously see it's busy. There's also a pedestrian crossing just before the junction, but what we should be doing in this scenario is looking for anyone who could potentially cross into our path. The vehicle to the left is pretty easy to watch for, but the cars who could be crossing our path from the oncoming area or the road to the right are much more difficult. My viewer should have slowed down so they could have accommodated all of this risk. The van to my viewer's right hasn't done a brilliant job. They've partially blocked the crossing, and if they had have held back, it would have been an easier spot for this vehicle that emerges from the right side. But you can actually still see a little bit of movement in the gap that remains. It's only a fleeting glance, but again, if my viewer was a little slower, this would have helped. So obviously this vehicle to the right is totally to blame for the collision. They had an obstructed view to their left, and I think that they were rushing for the van approaching from the right. However, if you're good enough, you can often fix other people's mistakes, and unfortunately in this scenario, my viewer wasn't quite good enough. Would you have been? Then the Jaguar to the left nearly reverses into the car behind because they weren't looking properly. There's not much to analyse in this clip, but I think it's an important point to tell. The close pass by the van causes my viewer to have a bit of a moment with the trailer that they're towing. Nicely handled. With this clip we'll look through it fully first, and I'll go through a few points in a moment. It was nice to see the postie acting really quickly with assistance, and also I'd like to say a big well done for my viewer. They stop to probably offer the footage. Now let's go back and see what could have been done differently to stop this collision. The first decision I'd like to go over is whether or not that this white car should have stopped at the lights. And for me it's an easy yes. There's plenty of space between the white car and the crossing. My viewer's not travelling too close and the speeds are reasonably slow. But watch the brake lights of the white car as we roll the clip on. They go to stop and then change their mind, and I'm not sure why. They must have missed the lady on the mobility scooter. It's yet another case of someone seeing an amber light and thinking, I can get through that. But what happened with the lady on the mobility scooter? Well, I think she was a little impatient, and let me explain why. First of all, have a look at the post office van. They're holding back, the lights are still on green and the vehicle in front is moving. I think this invited the lady to go, and she just took this invitation without looking properly. The lights then change and she's off. She does accelerate at some speed, and it's obvious that she didn't spot the white car either. But have a look at the control boxes on this pedestrian crossing. They're still showing red for the pedestrians. She went too soon, and I think this was probably down to the post office van waiting for her. She assumed that everyone else would be waiting also. And obviously what happens next is due to both of them not following the rules. Do you think this would have happened if either one of them would have done things properly? In any case, I'm just glad no one was injured. What we've got in this clip is obviously a single track road with passing places, and the first situation was quite easily dealt with. There are a few areas on the right hand side of the road from my viewer's perspective, but mainly they're on the left. My viewer does a great job. As soon as they spot the vehicle from the other way, they'll let it through. Perfect. But it's the next vehicle after this one that causes the problem. It decides to give way by pulling into an area on its right. The other vehicles behind coming think that it's parked. And now my viewer's got nowhere to go. If the vehicle on my viewer's left would have waited opposite this space, my viewer still could have used it and the cars could have flowed past. But now my viewer's got to reverse. As you can see, the original vehicle that pulled in wasn't parking, they were just waiting there. But my viewer fixes the problem. Although they had a long reverse, that was the best option in this situation. Nice job. Remember, in meeting situations, waiting opposite space is just as good as pulling into one on your left. Rarely will you need to pull into one on your right. Again, we'll watch this one through first. It's the tractor up ahead and the vehicle that tries to overtake on its right as it's doing the roundabout. Oops, another one that's totally avoidable. Again, good job for my viewer for stopping to probably offer the footage. Now, let's see what should have happened. As with most of these collisions that I analyse, both parties could and should have done better, and this one's no different. First of all, you can tell the impatience of the black vehicle by the distance it's following behind the tractor and trailer, and it can't wait to get past. And as the roundabout entrance splits into two lanes, we can see the black car takes lane 2 while the tractor and trailer stay in lane 1. And this is the first thing that I would have done differently if I'd have been driving such a big vehicle. I would have commanded both lanes. I wouldn't have positioned so far to the left. That's then a clear signal to the driver of the black car not to go past. So because the door's been left open, the driver of the black car stupidly decides to go through it. Then the tractor driver starts to close the door again. Whether the driver of the tractor saw the black car or not, this was always going to end up in a collision, because both road users are fighting for the same space. Try and remember that even though there may be 2 lanes on the approach, the roundabout itself might not be wide enough to fit 2 lanes of traffic on it. As normal, both parties could have done better. For this final clip, I'd like you to notice how little my viewer has the hand on the left-hand handlebar. I totally get sometimes you do need to rest your hand, but honestly if risk increases, you need to get it back on sooner than this. Brake lights are being shown and my viewer's still only one-handed. The weather's poor and risk in this situation is escalating quickly. Speed should be reducing and you need to be ready for anything. Let's go back and have another quick look at this. I know it's easy in hindsight, but seeing and being seen is everything. Do you think my viewer had been spotted by the white van that emerges slightly? Well, it's an obvious no. As we can see, it's only at this point that my viewer reaches for the front brake, but the left hand's still off the handlebar. The driver of the van spots my viewer quite quickly and comes to a stop, but my viewer's got little chance of saving this one this late in the day. My viewer didn't seem too badly injured and the bike didn't seem too badly damaged. People came to help really quickly, even though the van driver does seem more interested in the bike though.
You okay? Yeah, I'm just winded.
The management of risk is the most important thing to deal with when we're on our roads. Having priority does not keep you out of an accident, but managing risk should do. Keep safe everyone. I hope to see you soon.